Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel with Super Rugby Pacific's final just around the corner. I have decided to do my preview for the upcoming match between the Blues and the Crusaders, but if you do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Nonetheless, let's get straight into this preview. So this matchup, it will be taking place at Eden Park, 7:05 PM on Saturday, and it is a monumental matchup. Both of these sides have a ton of All Blacks in their starting lineup, plus off the bench, and it will be an absolutely awesome match to watch. But first of all, we will look through at previous fixtures, starting with the home side, the Blues. They did have their quarterfinal matchup up against the Highlanders, in which they were able to win at 35 points to 6, which was a very impressive game, as it was the only game of the quarterfinals where a side were able to stop the other side from scoring a single try. And that is what the Blues were able to do. Then they met the Brumbies in their semi-final, and that game was an edge of the seat contest. 20 points to 19, could have easily gone either way, but in the end the Blues held on, and that has now actually put them onto a 15-match winning streak coming into this game. So a huge one, the biggest of the season for any side. The only game that the Blues have lost, it was actually up against the Hurricanes, and that was at Eden Park. And that is actually quite a notable stat, because other than that, every away game they have won. So it's actually, they've got a worse record at home than they do away, which normally would concern a side, but 15 wins in a row, I'm sure they're not complaining too much at the moment, the Blues. But now looking through at the Crusaders, they are on a winning streak, but not quite 15. They are on a 6-match winning streak currently. They were able to beat the Reds in the quarterfinal, 37 points to 15, and then they did end up meeting the Chiefs in the semi-final, in which they were able to win 20 points to 7, so a little bit more one-sided than the game between the Blues and the Brumbies. And with this match being played at Eden Park, it changes drastically what could have happened if it was at Orange Theory Stadium. From finals rugby and Super Rugby, that is, the Crusaders are 100% at home. So now that they're away from home, anything can happen, and it should be an absolutely awesome game. I can't wait. I'll be honest, I've been thinking about this game since the start of the competition, hoping that it was a chance that it could be the final, and it is exactly what we have got as our first ever Super Rugby Pacific final. But looking through now at key players for both of these sides, for the Blues, I have highlighted 3 players that I feel will be very important in their success throughout this matchup. First of all, Beauden Barrett. He had an absolutely tremendous performance up against the Brumbies. He is a big match player, and this is about as big as it gets for Super Rugby up against the Crusaders, a side who would love to be able to take out this title. But Beauden Barrett, he might be able to help the Blues out towards getting a title of their own. Next name I have got is Tom Robinson. He missed out on All Black selection, which was pretty unfortunate, definitely with the recent news of Josh Lord being unavailable for the whole season. They aren't bringing in a replacement lock though, so Tom Robinson, he will still be sitting on the sideline when it comes to that All Black season, other than of course the Bunnings NBC, where he will be tearing it up for Northland, I hope, as that man, when he joins up with the Tunny Fars, is always a very impressive watch. He had a very good game last week up against the Brumbies, winning a lot of turnovers in that line out, and I think that that is where the Blues are really going to have to make sure that they are solid, because you're up against Scott Barrett and Sam Whitelock, 2 very experienced players, one a bit more experienced than the other, of course, with Whitelock being around since 1930, but is that too harsh? I feel like that's a bit too harsh. With Sam Whitelock having a huge amount of caps, and he's been playing extremely well, Sam Whitelock, so I'm looking forward to seeing him versus Robinson, see who can get the better of that clash. Then the last name that I've got is Hoskins Atutu off the back of a scrum, an open play, and also in the breakdown. Those are the 3 elements that Hoskins Atutu is going to have to make sure that he perfects for this game up against the Crusaders, because ball retention is going to be huge for the Blues. If they can hang on to that ball longer than the Crusaders, they've got a lot better chance of winning this game. But if they let the Crusaders play their natural game of hanging on phase after phase after phase, that is when the trouble starts. But we did see some very good defense from the Blues up against a lot of phase play from the Brumbies, so that is also something to consider, that maybe the defensive line doesn't break as easy as the Crusaders would like. Although speaking of defensive line breaks, we will go straight onto the Crusaders. First name I've got on my list, it is Will Jordan. This man has run a huge amount of meters this season. Defenders beaten, he's got plenty. Clean breaks, he's got a ton as well, and he also has a huge amount of pace, which could help him through the Blues defensive line. If it does end up getting a little bit unstructured, he will be able to glide his way through and possibly set up either a try for himself or a try for one of his Crusaders teammates. So that is why Will Jordan is one of the players I've got as a Crusaders one to watch. Then the next name I've got is Richie Mo'unga. Now we have talked about this battle many times, and a lot of Kiwis have as well. Beauden Barrett versus Richie Mo'unga. It's not very often that we do get to see them go head to head like in this circumstance, but I guess heading into the All Blacks tour, it may give someone a little bit of an edge over the other. But I'm looking forward to seeing who has the better game out of Barrett or Mo'unga. I think they're both going to step up, and it's going to be a question of who else in that back line can help make this game a success for their side. Now looking through at the last name, it is Cullen Grace. Played very well last week up against the Chiefs, scoring himself 2 tries. He was in the breakdown, he was physical, got himself man of the match, and he is really coming into his own in the later stages of this season. So that is why I also feel he will be able to have himself a big match once again. Now we're up to that stage of the prediction. So this game's extremely hard to predict, I will mention, and I've actually said that a team will win it by 3, and in the end I've gone the Crusaders. Now that is probably not a popular pick for this one. I know that the Blues supporters will be loud at Eden Park. They will be absolutely blowing the roof off the place. It hasn't even got a roof, so I'll have to build a roof, then it will get blown off. So that will certainly help the Blues while in front of a home crowd, but the Crusaders, they are one of those sides that you can never count out of a finals match. And with what we saw from last week, we saw them beat the Chiefs by 13, whereas we saw the Blues beat the Brumbies by only the 1 point, and there were a couple little things that the Blues would have wanted to change. If they've changed those things, they could easily be the side who win it by 3. But for now, I'm going to take a big stab at this one and go for the underdogs in this match. I've actually seen on the betting odds that the Blues are classed just as favourites, so I will go with the underdogs in the Crusaders and by 3. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.